Hello everybody, welcome to Also Rusty Bucket. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already and drop a like on this video. I am trying to hit 100k on this channel by the end of the year, so your subscription would be much appreciated. Yesterday when I talked about my goal a little bit more in depth, the subscriber rate increased. So I'm trying to hit this goal, and especially just so you know, there's going to be changes to my main channel that will make this channel even more important content-wise than it previously was. So if you watch my main channel, subscribe to this channel. Simple as that. Anyways, that being said, today's video is going to be talking about two things. It's going to be Kemba Walker going to the Knicks and Kyle Lowry going to the Heat. The reason I am talking about Kyle Lowry going to the Heat is because I feel like it's too late to make a video specifically on that move. I think everyone said what's had to be said. I didn't make a video on the topic because if you were there, you might remember when I made my video on Lonzo Ball going to the Bulls. I just got back from a 5-hour flight after previously getting 3 hours of sleep the night before, after the day before that having walked multiple miles and having very tired legs. So I kind of just wanted to die, so I could only record one video before passing out. So as a result, Kyle Lowry signing with the Heat, or really sign and trading to the Heat, was a move that had happened pretty much at the same time as the Lonzo Ball signing. I chose to talk about Lonzo Ball because I'm a Bulls fan, and I figured specifically because I'm a Bulls fan, that topic would do better. So I'm going to talk about that as well. Anyways, let's first talk about the newest news, which is that Kemba Walker has joined the New York Knicks. He was bought out by the OKC Thunder. I can only presume that that buyout isn't too long-term because I don't think OKC would be willing to eat that much cap space, especially in the 3-4 seasons from now. Honestly, I feel like I haven't heard anyone say this or act like this. I kind of feel like this was a little bit early, a little bit jumping the gun for the Thunder to buy him out, because I honestly don't think it was that crazy to think there is a world where Kemba Walker gets moved in the middle of the season next year after having a breakout season, or I guess not really breakout, but breaking out into being decent again with the Thunder. I kind of was expecting that to be the route that they take, similar to what they did with Al Horford. Al Horford ended up being an actual asset. Of course, they had to take back another bad contract, which was the Kemba Walker trade initially, but Al Horford's actually a good basketball player, and he proved to be a good basketball player, still a bit overpaid, but not to an extreme, and because of that, the Celtics felt pretty comfortable trading for him. Kemba Walker, I think, could have had a similar story, where it's oh, this guy's not that good, he's injury prone, his contract's huge, and then Kemba has a year where he's relatively healthy and averages 18 points on crazy good efficiency, 6 assists. Just proves that hey, is he worth $35 million? Not really, but if you're a good team that has extra contracts that they can throw around to add a piece that will drastically increase your ability to win, that might be the guy. Clearly, though, Sam Presti didn't feel that way because he bought him out. I just feel like there was potential to get some draft capital out of Kemba Walker, and they didn't do it. That being said, the Thunder have so much draft capital that, they'll be fine. I guess we can talk about the Knicks side of things here now, because that's the most prevalent thing here. I actually think this fit is kind of weird, being that the team just brought back Derrick Rose. Now, of course, the minutes that Kemba is going to be replacing is Elfrid Payton, not Derrick Rose. But are we that sure that Kemba is, that much better than Derrick Rose is now? I mean, it's hard to say, because Kemba on his good nights is definitely better than Derrick Rose, but Kemba also has as many bad nights as he does good nights, where he's definitely not as good as Derrick Rose. So I'd say the median between the good and the bad of Kemba Walker is probably on a similar tier, maybe just one leg up on Derrick Rose. So the fact that Derrick Rose is likely making more money on a longer term deal makes it kind of weird. Emmanuel quickly is going to still be playing plenty of off guard, which I'm fine with, as long as he gets some more. As long as he gets his floaters and his 3-pointers, that's fine by me. But yeah, it is a little bit weird, because the minutes distribution there with Derrick Rose and Kemba, I feel like you can't play them together that much. No more than 10-ish minutes per game with them both on the floor. So that might not be the best. That being said, Kemba Walker's contract, I imagine, is not a particularly large one. I believe it was. I mean, there's no specifics about the contract yet. In fact, I can check Twitter just to see if anything has come out yet, but I believe it's the mid-level exception. That would be my guess, because there's no specific yet listed from Shams or Woj in terms of the specifics of that contract, but I believe it's the mid-level, which means it's probably like, I don't know, 7-8-ish million dollars. It's not a high risk move, and if Kemba ends up not being really a thing that fits with them, then that's fine. They can work with an $8 million contract. It's just interesting for this team. Like, I feel like there's so many people acting like it's a seamless fit. I'm like, I don't know that he's that much better than Derrick Rose, and those two playing together is going to be weird. That being said, the Knicks defense is so good that they'll be fine in that regard, and then offensively, Derrick Rose and Kemba should be fine as well. That being said, playing two 6-foot guards at that together, not historically that great. So that does give cause for concern. But because it's a small contract and it's probably not long term, I'm not losing sleep, and I don't think Knicks fans should be either in any regard. And I think ultimately this is a very high reward, very low risk move. Kemba could even potentially be, I don't know, because the Knicks are trying to win, but Kemba could be a guy that a contending team is like, hey, he's actually been good now, and he's only cost $8 million. We'll throw you this player. So that's something that I could potentially see happening, but I feel like the Knicks are just going to stick with their guns unless he's just straight up not working there, which I guess is relatively possible. That is one thing about this where I was like, Kemba could have probably went to a really good team. It almost makes me wonder if the Lakers, like, I don't know. The Lakers, it doesn't really make sense with the Lakers, I don't think. Does it? I don't know, because he could have been a 6-man, and he would have definitely been a scoring and shooting punch, but defense is a thing, and I mean, I think he would have been fine playing with Russell Westbrook. I don't know. I think that would have worked. I think it would have been a little weird, but it would have worked. And I think that kind of summarizes the Lakers as a whole. It would have been weird. Probably would have worked. Kemba, like, he could have gone there for a mid-level, but instead they gave the mid-level to Kendrick Nunn, so they could end up regretting that. Not to say that Kemba necessarily was just going to do that. It was up to him where he went, but like there were some teams that potentially could have signed him that they already spent their money, like the Lakers, for example. I could have seen him on the Clippers too, although he's not really much of a playmaker, and Reggie Jackson is probably in a similar tier at this point, which is wild to say about Kemba Walker. They're like, I don't know, is he better than Reggie Jackson and Derrick Rose? And it's like, a year ago you would have been fucking laughed. I don't know why I'm saying laughed off stage like I'm on a stage. You'd just been laughed at if you suggested such a thing. But now, yeah, I don't know. Kemba really fell off. Injuries, inconsistency, not the best player anymore. But he can be if he can be healthy and if he can just lean more into the good games than the bad ones. And Kemba can be really good. It's just unfortunate that it's really a flip of the coin what version of Kemba Walker you're going to be getting. Anyways, now to talk about Kyle Lowry. I do think that this move could potentially, I don't know, on top of the Jimmy Butler extension, it's like a move that's like, you're committing a lot of money to something that might not be that good in 3 years, because Jimmy Butler makes like $45 million at 36. And then I believe that Kyle is going to be making a $30-ish million around. How old is Kyle Lowry? I think he's like 33. I could be completely wrong about. Wait, he's 35, isn't he? Yeah, he's 35. And he turns 36 in March. So yeah, he's a little old to be paying. You're going to be paying him $30 million at 38, 39. You're going to be paying $45 million to Jimmy Butler at 36, 37. Committing $75 million to those two when they're really old, that's a decision. Now, that being said, it's clearly a short-term decision where they're like, hey, want to maximize our championship window, adding adding Kyle Lowry definitely does that. So, from that end, sure. I will say as well that they just signed Victor Oladipo back. The specifics of that contract is not yet public as far as I'm aware. I'm not going to check for that because I don't really care. I can't imagine it's a lot of money. They brought in PJ Tucker, which honestly I hate, not because he doesn't work with the Heat, but because I really wanted him back with the Milwaukee Bucks. That was like kind of heartbreaking to me. because the Bucks are like my third favorite team in the league, fourth when the Warriors don't suck outside of Steph, and for them to swipe away PJ from them, I was like, God damn it. I wanted PJ to stick with the Bucks, especially because it helps them with their Giannis at the 5 lineup. Probably going to be more Bobby Portis minutes, though, which is not a negative thing. So, yeah, that I didn't love just because of what it means for the Bucks, but it's a good pickup by the Heat. The starting lineup next year should be who would be their 3? It'd be Duncan Robinson, right? So Kyle Lowry, Jimmy Butler, Duncan Robinson, PJ Tucker, and Bam Adebayo with Tyler Herro still coming off of the bench. Their actual bench depth, I don't think is that. Is there some player that I'm missing right now who's coming off of the bench for them that's like really good? I don't think there is. They just traded. Obviously, in this move, they moved Precious as well as what's the fucking name? Goran Dragic. And I don't believe there is some player that I am missing right now that is important for the Miami Heat. So, yeah, I don't think that their depth is the best in the world. I'm trying to pull up their roster right now on the NBA app. Yeah, Bielitsa left. Dedmon. I don't know if Dedmon re-signed or left. I can't remember now. Andre is probably leaving, or if he comes back, is going to be on a really cheap contract. So yeah, their bench depth is pretty much Tyler Herro now. So that's something I hadn't even considered in this. But regardless, I think it's a good move. You're going to be a lot better next year. You're especially the biggest part of this is your offense without Jimmy Butler, because I think it's pretty much the consensus that everyone came away with after the Bucks series, which was if you stop Jimmy Butler, the Heat have nothing going offensively other than like a couple of Goran Dragic moments. Kyle Lowry is definitely a really good offensive creator for himself and others, so that should definitely elevate their offensive ceiling quite significantly, their creating ability quite significantly. I would just have concern in regards to the long-term implications of some of these contracts. That being said, short-term, they're going to be just fine. They're going to be really good, and it's going to boost their team's ceiling quite significantly. Anyways, that is it. That's what I think about Kemba Walker, Kyle Lowry to the Heat. I know I'm late on that last one, but giving you what I can. But yeah, that's it. Goodbye.